Hello and welcome to today's podcast episode slash YouTube episode slash TikTok live. And today we're going to do problems when buying a property. And I'm purchasing a property right now that's got plenty of problems and it's causing me difficulties. We've been in the legals for 5-6 months and we're still going. Now, I've known about this property for a long time and I've known that the owner is an issue. I've been chasing this particular property for 2 years before, and I've been in the purchase process before, and then the owner disappeared. Owner is abroad, has a portfolio of properties, doesn't seem to be managing them. There was an incident at this property involving a gun. It's a 7-bed HMO. The tenants were cleared out. It's been left empty. He's been paying double council tax, by the way, because you do in Swansea. You pay double council tax on empty properties for years now. It's probably cost him £5,000-6,000 just in that. We're buying this property for £140,000 and we are 6 months, I believe now, maybe less, into the legal process and it is still going through it. So I'm going to talk you through how to overcome some of those issues, how to mitigate those and why it's important. So when you're buying a property and you're getting it at a discount, which is what we have to do as investors, the first thing you need to do is locate the problem. And if the problem is the owner, then that problem's gone the minute you buy it. If the problem is the building, then you're buying the building with the problem. So I prefer muchly to buy properties with issues in them, with issues with the owner rather than issues with the building, because once the purchase is complete, the owner is gone. In this case, owner being abroad, not very communicative, not keeping up with the legal stuff, and it's got out of hand to the point now where I have, and I'm going to look at some documents as I do this, I have now if I click here, an outstanding bill here of £2,574.85, which the seller's solicitor will repay on completion, but they can't find a copy of the invoice. And that bill exists because the seller's solicitor, or because they've let the property go into disrepair that much that part of it was falling onto the pavement, so part of the garage building that comes with it, a single skinned garage building that comes with it. Actually, I'm going to give you some development tips as well. We've got a city centre building. Firstly, it's a 7-bed HMO. We're buying it for £140,000. A 7-bed HMO gets a commercial valuation. We're buying it for £140,000. We'll rent it out by the room, get a multiplier of the rents as the mortgage valuation instead of a bricks and mortar mortgage valuation. That thing will be valued at about £350,000. So we're, in fact, £400,000. Let's be honest, at today's rates, we're literally gonna double, nearly triple our money on this property. It also comes with an outbuilding that is in a bad condition. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically get planning to knock that down and put a house up next door as well. So we get the development advantage, a 7-bed HMO, fill it with people, full rents, and all of our money back out and more on top. Win, 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 win. So we are having difficulty purchasing it, but we will get there. And so now at the moment, I've spent my day, and I spend a lot of my day dragging around lawyers, phoning different departments at the council, trying to get hold of a copy of this invoice that, of course, the owner doesn't have because it was sent to the house that he rented out from abroad that is now empty with piles of post up by the door and all sorts. So what is the owner to do, or what am I to do to get a copy of that? So I've been phoning environmental health, building control, building regulations, council office. I've been on hold, passed around, hung up on. Is it my role as the sourcer and investor to do that? I think yes. Some will say no, and that's where the personal service side of what we do is really important. At keypropertiesuk.co.uk, come and see what we do. And it's things like this, always chasing down lawyers, moving things along, being the oil in the machine and making everything work. Without that, things can get held up quite significantly. We now have I found out that a copy of the building control certificate. So when this building was turned into a shared house, it got a certificate of completion from building control. This is important, as if you've seen any of my other videos, to qualify you for the regulations so that you can license it, so that you can legally house people in that property as a shared house. And if you don't do that and there's some sort of issue like a fire or, well, let's use fire as an example, and you end up hurting somebody, you're criminally liable if you do not follow the rules and regulations. So this building control certificate's been missing for ages as well. We finally got it. Well, we say we've got it. It was sent to the vendor's solicitors in November, I found out. I can't have a copy of it because I don't own the building yet, but I know that it's there, so now we can chase them and say, well, it was sent to this person and she had it in November. Please check your emails. There it is. So that's to the bottom, getting to the bottom of that. But problems when purchasing properties, it can be admin, it can be legals, it can be surveys, and this one's got it all. So it's worth talking through everything. The lawyers he is using have taken ages. They're slow. I have to contact them and drag them along, ring them up, prioritize this, get it done, prioritize this, get it done. And remember, as property professionals, every single day that we lose costs us money, because once we've completed this project and pulled the money out, then we can go again and do another one, and then we can go again and do another one. So we do need to operate with speed, as does any business with stock, and we have stock. I'm telling on my TikTok live to swipe right to view comments. Oh, no, I don't want to end it. No. So you're currently live on TikTok and on my podcast and on my YouTube channel. So we're doing a triple header at this point, and we're doing problems with buying a property. I'm going to read some stuff. I've got to put my glasses on. We get letters from or emails from lawyers that say things like official copies of A, property register, B, proprietorship register, C, charges register. Tell us things like covenants. At the moment we are getting a loan to do a development on another property, but that has a restriction on the covenant. So back in the old days, the churches owned everything, and they still have restrictive covenants on properties. You need to know what they are when you're buying a property, because they can affect what you do with it moving forwards. Now, this restricted covenant is on land registry, so the lawyers need a copy of it before they can decide whether we can take this finance out on the property or not, or if the covenant prevents that. Well, the covenant does not prevent that. It prevents disposition of parts of it, so you can't rent it out as individual flats. But they still need a signed copy from the legal team that represents the church and is still delaying the finance on that building, so we can't develop it that quickly. These things get in the way, and that's a problem with property development. The covenant doesn't get in the way, and we knew that before we purchased it, but it's still delaying the finance on the building to develop it. That building, by the way, we bought for 48 grand and we'll sell it for 140, having done 35 grand's worth of work to it. We are bouncing on that. Really, really good job on that one. Change of use from an old hall into a 3-bed bungalow. It's a phenomenal one. So anyhow, so property legal packs are massively important, and you get them at auction, and they can help you with anything, and they give you everything: title plans, searches, EPCs, you name it, it's on there. And that can help you. If you're purchasing at auction, it's so much easier because you can read the legal pack beforehand. You've got a 30-day period into which to buy the property after you've put the deposit in. So if I agree to purchase a property under auction conditions, either at auction, pre-auction or post-auction, then I have basically 30 days. Careful, by the way, the special instructions in an auction purchase can and will often lie to you. Sometimes dodgy auctioneers will put in, you have 14 days, not 30 days. Read every single document, special conditions particularly, because that can happen. Now, I am writing a book, actually finished the book, How to Buy Properties at Auction for Dummies. But also there is a 1-hour special podcast on YouTube on this. It's UK Property Investment YouTube channel. It's the Martin Howard Property Podcast, all about how to buy properties at auction and why it's so good, because you don't have to wait 6 months. If this takes us 6 months to buy, I could have bought a property, done it up, sold it, and bought another one, done it up, sold it in that time. So this property's now got to be worth 2 properties in order to explain its value to me. It's going to take me 2 months to renovate it. So we'll have it. It'll have taken me 8 months in total to get this property from agreeing to purchase to ready to rent. And in 8 months, I could have done 2 single buy-to-lets. So this one has to be worth double the bubble. Otherwise, it's not worth it. And that's why buying under auction conditions is so valuable, because you get the speed, and the speed is the money. Time is money, and everything in business. But if you're new to it, these are the sort of sort of comments that we get, and we have, Hi, I've now received the result of your drainage search. This is boring as hell, by the way, but this is the stuff that we have to go through as property professionals in order to make sure that a property will be viable for rent going forwards and that we can use it. Set out below is a brief summary of the main points revealed by the search. Foul drainage from the property connects to the public sewer, so there's no septic tank. Surface water drainage from the property connects to the public sewer. No public sewers pass through the property. This is important. When you're reading legal packs on auction documents, make sure there are no lines going under, and it's very easy. The maps are easy. You have your property marked out in red, and then you'll see lines for things. Don't worry too much about what they are at that stage. Just make sure none are going on or near the property, because if they are, then you need to identify what they are. If you have sewer lines going underneath your property and you're looking at developing it, careful, because you don't want to reroute main sewers. so then you need to ask questions, and that everything is overcomeable, but you have to ask the questions and see if it is. Sorry, my phone's going off. See if it is over. I'll put that on do not disturb. See if it is overcomeable within the finances that you've got for that property. Either it'll cost too much to do or it won't. So you need to know these things. No vested water mains pass through the property. I wonder if I can drag my drainage report over to... I don't think I can without giving the address away. No, I cannot. So, and I am looking here at 16 pages of drainage and sewerage reports. Okay, so you get to page 11 and it goes on to the appendix, and then you get to the maps. And the maps there show you all sorts of things about sewer pathways, water pathways, this, that and the other. It's all got a key on it like any other map. If you can read a map, then you can look and check these things for yourself. And if you can't read a map, don't go into property. Seriously, you need to be able to read maps and keys and things. That's drainage search. Let me move on though. I'll have that email into this one. Is that right? Here we go. So we've got an official copy of the register of the building. This is a land registry document. Have you ever seen one of those, or you only left your solicitors to it? If you have, then you're not a property professional. You must be reading these every single day and get used to them. And some of the oldie worldy English language in them, it's like trying to read an old version of Shakespeare or something. It's incredible. My favourite terminology in these things is always been fee simple. Fee simple means freehold. You don't need lawyer to tell you that. You need to be able to use Google, because it will tell you the answer. And I am a big person for saying do not use lawyers for stupid shit, because it'll cost you money. If I'm looking at 10 properties and I ask the lawyer at £200 a pop to check the legal pack for me, that's £2,000 before I've started work, maybe to decide they're all not worth it. It's silly. You need to be able to read these things yourself and then decide what's worthy, and then send the worthy ones to the lawyer. Always. So on the title, I've got the proprietor, and I've got how much they've paid in the past. I've got any conveyancing issues, which there are none on this one. I've got the freehold land shown edged with red on the plan of the above title, filed at the registry and being blah blah address. Number 2, the mines and minerals, together with the ancillary powers of working, are expected with provision for compensation in event of damage caused thereby. Basically, if a conveyance entered 10th of July 1931 made between British Copper Manufacturers Limited and Joseph John Rees contains the following provision: that the vendors or the person deriving title under them should not be enlisted to any right of light or air to the hereditaments thereby assured, which would restrict or interfere with the free use of any adjoining or neighbouring property for building or other purposes, and that the conveyance therein before contained should not be deemed or construed to imply the grant of any such right of light or air. What does that mean? Well, light and air is a right that every property has. That's why you can't put new builds up against old buildings or put them up against each other. So light and air is almost like a human right in terms of planning and properties and buildings. The vendors, i.e. the sellers of the property, or the persons deriving the title, i.e. people that hold the title in the future, this is the title of the property, under them should not be entitled to any right of light or air to the hereditaments thereby. So that means that that damage any properties nearby. You can't put on that plot, if I wanted to build a tower building on that plot, this restriction on this title would say that I could not. And unless I had that restriction removed, then I would not be able to put a tower building on that plot because of that restriction on that title. And as a property professional, I need to know this before I purchase, because if I did want to put a tower on that building, there's no way that I could because of that restriction. Well, so I say no way. The conveyance was dated 10th July 1931 between British Copper Manufacturers Limited, which I'm sure don't exist anymore. So then you'd have to look for places that's been passed down to, and you have to go through a legal process, and you could probably, in fact very likely, have that removed if you wanted to. But as property professionals, we need to know what the restrictions are on a property, and that one from there on this particular property from 1931 would restrict us slapping a tower building on it or anything else that would restrict the light and air of the neighbouring properties. We also have in our legal pack a Law Society fittings and contents form. For us, normally we do not give a shit about this. We're buying crap holes. We want them as empty as possible, but we also understand that because we're buying them, the people selling them are often not in a position to empty them, deal with the crap. Oftentimes they're landlords, like in this case, that are abroad that don't have a Scooby-Doo what's in the property or around it or anything. They don't know if there's light fittings, they don't know if the sockets work, they're just flogging something that's gone. Or in many cases we're dealing with properties that have been passed down and left empty, and they just want red. We're normally buying under auction, we're normally buying crap holes, we're normally buying things that are full of crap. So for us, fittings and contents, we don't care. And if they tick that there's an oven in the building and then there isn't, I really couldn't give a fuck. So going on my YouTube, can't swear. I really couldn't care less. So for us this doesn't matter, but for other people this does, and you do need to pay attention to it anyway, just in case there's something in there you don't like. And then of course we have the TA6, which is the Law Society the Law Society Property Information Form. This goes with every property purchase. So on there, first and foremost, you've got the seller solicitor's details and some details saying it's a legal offence to lie about anything, and then you just ask about the boundaries and any issues. And here is where we've got this issue that I'm mainly focusing on today. So if you can hear my dog grumping in the background, she wants to sleep and I'm talking. Who's the boss, eh? The dog or me? So the garage needs to be maintained. Section number 2, disputes and complaints. Always read this section. Always read this section of your TA6 form. Disputes and complaints, section 2. The garage needs to be maintained. What does that mean? 2.2. The safety of the construction of the garage at the rear of the building. Now, I know that the garage at the rear of this building had been propped up by somebody because it was falling into the road a little bit. I did know this had happened. I thought the owner had got someone to do it actually, but I wondered how, because he's abroad and doesn't answer anything. But there we are. Notices and proposals. So then you get to number 3. Notices and proposals. This is important. On the 23rd of February 2022, the Swansea Council said the garage is in disrepair. The garage has been secured in the meantime. Okay, what does that mean? And then you scroll through the rest of this form and there's nothing else in there about drains being issued or if there's any issues with gas or anything. It all looks pretty decent, but again, you can't hold owners to these things when they're miles away or they're trying to get rid of the property of a deceased relative or something. Often they don't know the answer, they're just getting rid of it to somebody, and it's up to you as the property professional to understand that, handle it, and be a human. At the end of the day, if you are like me and you are buying distressed properties from people and then you're booking them because they leave an oven in the property and a fridge that you've got to clear out that you didn't need to, or that wasn't on the forms, then stop being a dick. There is a reason those people are in the position they're in. It could be deceasement, it could be a business failure, it could be illness, it could be anything. It's not, you've got the property, deal with it as it is, and we get properties as they are and deal with them. That's what we do. That's just what we do. Now it comes out in the form called updated inquiries that we've got from our side, that the seller solicitor has said that the local authority have advised that this related to the works, this is to do with that garage, undertake this related to works to secure a dangerous facade on the garage to prevent collapse on the public highway / footpath. we have been told that there is a debt to be settled of £2,574.85, which the seller's solicitors will repay on completion. That sounds easy, right? No, because we're buying this property with bridging finance. The bridging finance company want a copy of that invoice, and they want the seller solicitors to commit to that specific invoice with the purchase funds, so that we don't have anything over us going forwards that allow them to secure their finance against the building. And this thing is holding up the whole sale. That and a copy of the building control certificate, which, by the way, they already have. As I said earlier in this, I've got to the bottom of it by speaking to building control. They were emailed it in November, but between them they've seemed to have lost it. But we've got that, so we're one thing away now from getting this property. Getting the drainage certificates was hard because the address wasn't registered with the water board. We had to get into the property, or we were supposed to get into the property to get the meter number, but we got to the bottom of that in the end, and that was a bunch of calls in on its own. Phoning the water board, phoning different departments of the water board, being passed around, being hung up on, being passed around, being hung up on. This is what we have to do as property professionals. And I see lots of these people doing property sourcing now without qualification, without training, without any experience. And also there's companies out there that are now trying to aggregate it into these online portals where people can put their properties. And I don't think it works. How are you as an investor going to be able to buy a property, have all these little issues, and there are always issues. Don't think a property comes without issues. They always do. And have somebody that you have a relationship with, that you know, like, and trust, that can chase these things down, that can do these things for you, that can work with you. How are you going to overcome issues if you're buying something off a catalogue? It's not going to happen. So for properties, I just don't think it works, particularly when you're out of control of the quality of what you are doing, because you are taking stuff from anyone, people who are leveraging your compliance documents in order to operate. And then also, you will never get the best deals from a property sourcing aggregator place. I tell you now, I will never put a property on one of those places. But if I did, it wouldn't be one of my best, because when I get a good property, I speak to people that I know already and say, I've got this, do you like the look of it? And they might say yes. There you are, you can have it. I'm not, and only by speaking to people about good properties I've got might I then go, well, nobody wants it, I'll put it on there. But you're never ever going to get to the point where, like, I'm never going to just get a property that's a brilliant deal and just hand it to people I don't know. I'm going to hand it to people that I've communicated with. If you want to be on my list, the address is keypropertiesuk.co.uk. Sorry. I ate a biscuit before this and it's stuck in my throat. keypropertiesuk.co.uk. Contact me on the Calendly or whatever, we'll book a call. Speak to me, because then once I speak to you, I'll be able to send you stuff, because I will have spoken to you. I know what you want and I know what we're talking about, and it'll be something we can communicate on. That's the way it has to be. I'm not just going to my email list doesn't get any of my deals because I speak to people first, and the people I'm speaking to get the first ones. So it's really important that you talk to me if you want my deals, and I think a lot of people work like that. If you're going to be going to these aggregator places, know that the people posting there, A, aren't compliant, that's why they're on there, and B, are handing their stuff over for that doesn't qualify to any of the people they're working with and dealing with. It's just how it is. So this particular property that I am talking about, let's go back to it. £2,500 outstanding bill. Swansea Council Environmental Health, who did the works, don't have the bill. Their accounts receivable do not have the bill. Their building control department doesn't have the bill. And between them, they all say that the other department has the bill. Or, well, they haven't even identified the bill exists at the moment, but they're saying, well, they must have it. Well, they must have it. Well, they must have it. I currently have 2 email inquiries and 1 phone call inquiry with a reference number open with the council. And I have done, before this, probably 3 hours on the phone so far, waiting, going around different departments, and I will get to the bottom of it, because you don't lose if you don't quit. I won't lose, because I will keep on at them until I get it, and I will get it. And so you've just got to be utterly committed to resolving problems. And if you're getting a property off a property aggregator site, ain't going to happen. You won't have that level of commitment from somebody working with you, for you, and to help you. So whenever you are buying a property, and I'll just go over this again, you're doing it for investment purposes, there is a problem with that property. You're getting it below value, and when you do that, what you need to do is hope for God that the property problem is the owner, because if it is a structural issue or a damp issue or a knotweed issue, that problem stays with the property when you buy it. But if it's the owner, it's gone when you buy it. So all the problems with this property, apart from a small roof leak and a chimney that needs re-rendering with birds in it, will be gone. Actually, let's solve that problem as well. This property is linked semi-detached. I was driving past it the other day. The neighbours were moving furniture, or they're moving rubbish out. I parked up, dragged them. It turns out that it's the husband of the owner who's got a flat, who's renting it out, and is clearing it for rental. I've now spoken to her, got her phone number, found out about damp in her property, got permission to put scaffolding up, got permission to fix the chimney, got permission to check her roof space. That helps my side of the building. I do not mind covering the costs for anything that's on, well, not all the way over, but anything on her side of the building, such as the chimney is shared. And why would I do that? Well, A, I'm not a dick, and B, it means I control the work. I control the quality of the work, the speed of the work, the timing of the work. So I want to know that chimney is no longer leaking. I'm going to have the whole thing re-rendered all the way around. I'm going to have the caps put back on it. Well, there's no caps, it's leaking straight down the bottom. I'm going to clear the birds out of it. I'm going to know that's done properly to standard that will last by my team. I don't want her getting involved in that work. She might delay it, put her own team in, I only want to patch it. I don't want to be out of control of that work. So A, I'm not going to bill her for it. B, I want that work to be done so that my property stays dry. I want to be in control of it. It's not going to cost me much more. I'm going to render my half of the chimney anyway. May as well go all the way around. I've got the scaffolding up already. I've booked the guys. I've got the team in place. I've got everything's in place. So for me, personally, I always want to be in control of the work, and as long as it's not too much, then I will do that. So I've got a few slip tiles, a bit of render around the chimney, fix the caps, and then we're flying, and we can get on with the inside of the property, dry it out, and off we go. And apart from that, this property that we're buying for 140 grand has nothing wrong with it. Chimney, few tiles, brilliant. It smells a bit smoky in there. I'm ripping all the carpets out and starting again. I'm going to repaint the whole thing, even though it's in pretty decent nick. We're going to sort some bits out in the kitchen as well, because it's just a bit dated. But the electrics are fine. The sprinkler system is in place. The gas is fine. The water works. Like, everything is good. So, there's a crack in one of the windows. We'll replace the glass. But everything is good. Oh, and the door is shit. We'll get a nice door on there as well. One of those old wooden doors. No, proper nice door on the thing. We'll rent this out by the room. £450, £500 per room. Times 7. Times 12 months. And then times a 10 times multiplier will be our end value on that property. And I'm going to do it quickly on my calculator, just so I've got the number exactly right when I say it. Let's say we do £450 per room times 7 rooms. That's £3,150 a month times 12 months. £37,800 rent roll a year. We get a multiplier of 10 on a commercial valuation. That property fully let is worth £378,000, and we're buying it for 140. Now, it normally would cost us more. We'd normally have to do a change of use. We'd normally have to develop to building regs and specifications. We'd normally have to do a whole lot of things. But in this case, no. The problem is the owner, and for 140 grand, we're getting a building that we can very quickly and cheaply make into worth 378. That's how you step up the value in a building. So yes, we have all these problems when purchasing this property. Yes, it's really difficult for us to do so. Yes, I'm spending hours and hours on hold, waiting, banging lawyers' heads together, telling them they've got documents they said they didn't have, showing them when they were sent details. We're doing all sorts of things like this. But the outcome is super profit. So even though by the time this is done, we could have done 2 properties, it's worth more than 2 properties. So it's worth the time, effort, expense and heartache. But normally if you're going to have, basically the way to solve problems when buying a property is to buy it at auction, because once you put that deposit in, you've got 30 days to complete, and you better have hell damn it read the legal pack by then, so you know all the issues anyway. Yeah, so that is my overview on problems when buying a property, particularly the one we're doing right now that's causing us delays and things. And if you are working with any kind of property specialist, sourcer, partner, investor, then make sure that there's somebody, I know it sounds cocky, but somebody like myself, because I am a belligerent bastard, and I will drag everything. I will drag people through hedges to get things done. I will drag people backwards through hedges to get things done. I will deliver and deliver and deliver, and you have to just be willing to put that bit of effort, drive into these things to get them through. And I know we're working with legal professionals and whoever else it is, and we're working our best to be professional with them, but sometimes you've got to drag them, and you have to have somebody that's not willing to let go of the bone. They've got that between their teeth, and they will make it happen. And that is the attitude you need to have to get things done in property, not only in the purchase process, but also in the development, the build, working with your team. There has to be someone behind it driving it, because things can wave off and get, even people will get slack on the developments, all sorts. You just have to do it. So when buying a property, there are always problems, and unless you really go through auction, but even then there can be problems. There will normally be some sort of issue with the legals, and you just have to have that bottle to drag it through. And that's what we will do with this one. I will get to the bottom with my multiple inquiries with the council, and I will get it done. And if you are having, do you know what? If you're having problems buying a property and you've got issues like that, message me either on whatever platform you're looking at, or go to keypropertiesuk.co.uk, find the contact button, message me. There's a form on there, or you can email me. There's all the details are there, and I will help you with it, free of charge, no issues, as long as it's not taking a piss, of course. I will help you with it, because I've been through everything when purchasing property. There's nothing anybody's been through purchasing a property that I haven't been through. I can almost guarantee it. I don't see new things anymore. I've seen it all before. So ask me and I will help you, no problem. Right, that's the end of this TikTok Live podcast episode and YouTube video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Whatever platform you're watching this on, thank you very much, or listening on, and I will speak to you and see you all again very, very soon.